Harry Potter pulled from shelves. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at a West Australian bookstore pulling Harry Potter from the shelves, among other books. Now you'll see we've got this article from news.com.au and there are many others that are going to be appearing about a bookstore in Western Australia pulling Harry Potter and other books by author J.K. Rowling from the shelves. Now, I can't say I'm a particular Harry Potter fan. I don't remember if I actually managed to read one of the entire books. I think it was a little too childish for me. Everyone was raving about it, but it was a children's book. I saw the movies. Rachel's a fan. Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see. I think I'm just too old, and I'm too fast approaching boomer age. That could be. That could be. I'm evolving into a boomer, guys. That's what's happening. But a West Australian bookstore has banned her books because, well, they consider J.K. Rowling transphobic. Now, she is a TERF, many would argue, and that's a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. Well, that's one people that are labeling her. Now, essentially what that means is having a traditional opinion, or one that, frankly, I was taught in biology at high school, that your sex is determined on a chromosomal basis, and surgery and medication can't modify that. Now, there's some people that argue that your sex is dependent, or your gender is a social construct, and then you're a clean slate when you're born. Now, for anyone who's had children and seen a little girl put toy trucks to bed, or a little boy play with a Barbie doll like a gun, you'd realize that there's really no basis to that. Often it's people who aren't parents, or people who've got no experience around kids that are making these claims. But that doesn't mean you need to be critical of people who are trying to transition. It's a legitimate process. Gender dysphoria is a medical condition, and people are trying to address that, and they're taking treatment. And most people will treat everyone with respect and dignity when they're going through this. If you want to watch a good YouTuber that can give you some insight into that community, which frankly is very left-leaning and can be quite toxic, have a look at some of Blair White's videos there. Because all normal people, you just treat each other decently and professionally. At least that's what I'm used to. But we're not talking about normal people here. We're talking about internet virtue signaling. Now, this little business that's banned these books, or not really banned them, they've refused to stock them, unless, of course, you go in and order them. There you go. Just think about it. So this is a bookshop in WA, and we'll read through their statement here. They want to create a safe space, among other things. Now, I've never heard of them. I'm probably not the target demographic. I mean, to be brutally honest, most of the literature that I want to read, all the classic stuff, is for free online. It's out of copyright, so I'll go to Project Gutenberg and download it. And while I enjoy holding a physical book, the older I get, the more tired my eyes get. Having it on a screen, I'm reading Ordinary Men right now on the phone. It's much more easier than reading a real book. I know that's bad. I know it's bad, but you gotta forgive me. So, in some ways, I'm impressed that as a business, they're still actually going as a bookstore. I know there are a few high-end bookstores here in Brisbane. I think there's Folio's one that we go to spend a fortune on architecture books, but I just can't justify it anymore. It can become an addiction. So, I wouldn't imagine they're turning that much money from a Harry Potter sale, but they're getting a lot of exposure through this statement, through a simple post they put on Facebook 3 days ago. I mean, I'm talking about them. News.com is writing articles about them. Other businesses are writing articles. It'll give them a lot of traction. Now, maybe there'll be some people who take a political stance on banning books, which, I mean, I guess this really isn't. I mean, you wouldn't want J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books to be the cross you die on, or the mountain, you fall on. But so can you imagine? It probably wouldn't hurt their business that much. But what about everyone who's ideologically opposed to Rowling's? And it wouldn't just be people in the trans community, it would be other people. People who are just doing it for political statements. Maybe they'll start supporting them. Maybe this is a brilliant business strategy to get advertising and exposure. What do you think? Am I just becoming even more cynical? You know, complimenting them on their strategy of banning probably a low volume book in a trendy hipster bookshop. You know, Harry Potter's probably too mainstream for them. It's too mainstream. You know, they just to sell as gifts to a third party, to someone's niece or nephew. What do you reckon, guys? So let's have a look. Hey, Rabblers, we want to talk about J.K. Rowling. We are always trying to make Rabble a safe space for our community, and part of that is trying not to put books by transphobes on the shelves when we know about them. Now, you've got to understand, most people would share J.K. Rowling's position. Most people would. That's just reality. That's nature and a biological fact. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that your opinions shouldn't be legitimately considered, particularly when it's the majority. Most people of the silent majority don't even think about this. I suspect, sadly, trans issues have been usurped by the radical left to some degree and used as a political issue. And when most of these people, listening to what Jordan Peterson has to say, just want to get along with their lives and have a normal life. You know, that's that old-fashioned thing we all want. Here is where we are. We're not going to stock J.K. Rowling's books, and we won't be keeping Robert Galbraith books, her synonym crime novels, on the shelf anymore. Though we don't sell many, we're going to phase out the Harry Potter books too. We know that Harry Potter means a lot to a lot of people, and that often you want to share them with the youngsters in your life. I can see it being maybe one of the first books that someone ever read, and they want to share it to a child or share it to a younger family member. That's probably how I. Let me know if I'm on the money there. Let me know, because I mean, adults reading these things. Maybe they are. We will always be happy to order them in for you, as with any books we don't stock. For any we do sell, we'll be donating our profits to Trans Folk of WA. We're physically a very small shop, and this opens up so much more space for awesome books, and they list a whole series of writers that I'm assuming are trans positive. While stocking a book isn't an endorsement, good grief, that would be a minefield, and we will always take orders for books that aren't in stock. There are more worthy books to put on our shelves, books that don't harm communities and won't make us sad unpacking them. So, I mean, do you have an issue with this business doing this? It's their right to pick it should be their right to pick who they want to do business with, who they choose to discriminate against. But could you say maybe, what would be the response? Let's have a little bit of theory crafting here. If you had a ultra-conservative Christian bookshop that refused to stock an author that didn't ideologically agree with their position, well, I'm sure they already do. But they don't make a song and dance about it all over the internet. I guess it's just a different world. You know, probably the old Christians aren't as hip and up to using the internet and Instagram. Or maybe it just wouldn't get as much traction. So, I mean, what are they doing here? It's really nothing that special. They're just not carrying a particular author. I see that all the time. I got frustrated when I would go to a bookshop and want to buy a book. That's ended up why I started buying more online. Why I started going to ordering them or getting them on my phone. And here they're suggesting that the synonym she picked, Robert Galbraith, was a psychologist who helped develop conversion therapy, and Rowling claims it was a coincidence. And so they've got suggestions for other books, and I mean, you can see here in the comments, some people are saying, oh, it's sick that you're banning the books, and they're not banning. You can go through this, I assure you, on your own. Now, if this annoys you, I'd encourage you not to go and review bomb them. You want to be classier than that. You want to be classier than that. This is the behavior of the radical left in many ways. You don't want to stoop to their level. Although I know rules for radicals is you have to hold them account to their own level. So what do you all think, everyone? Do you think it's the right of the business to doing it? Am I being too cynical to think this is a 4D chess marketing strategy on their behalf? Are you offended that they're not choosing to do it? It's not like the state. It's a different thing when a private business chooses to discriminate who they do business with. They don't. This bookstore doesn't have a monopoly. I'm certain. I don't know for sure. I haven't done the research, but I'll bet a carton they're not the only bookstore in Perth. They don't have a monopoly. They're not going to restrict people's access to this information. And in some ways, they should be applauded for, choosing to discriminate who they want to do business with and not. And maybe we need to allow more businesses to do that. To allow more freedom in our ability to discriminate who we do business with and who we don't. Can you see that going over well? Can you see there being a double standard? What do you all think, everyone? So, there we have it. This is doing the rounds a bit, and I thought I would have a look at it. What's your take? Do you think they should be forced to stock Harry Potter? Do you think it's a bit of posturing on their part and fake virtual signaling to generate some media and marketing? Or are they really that hurt about Harry Potter and other Rowling's books? As always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, and Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, have a great day. I'll see you all next time.